All right, we'll go ahead and call the Monday, October 24th, 2011, Public Safety Committee to order, and the chair entertain a motion for the minutes of last month.
So moved.
Got a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
And a second. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion is carried. First is the drug court report.
Yes. We're down a little bit in our numbers with the drug court. The DUI court is doing very well. Our capacity is 25 on that, and we're at 26. We just had 4 graduate this morning, so we needed that number to go down. We were a little over capacity and a little overstretched. So, but we have a total of 30 people that have graduated from the DUI court now, which is very good. Other than that, I don't know if you have any questions about any of the numbers, and I can get on with my narrative. And September's blank because of the race. I just didn't get to this.
Okay.
I've won a lot of things on the race.
Does anybody have any questions for Mary?
But the Support Foundation did hold their annual fundraiser for the drug court, the Rally for Recovery 5K run, and we raised about $20,000 in sponsorship, so that was very good. I have a feeling we're probably going to have to use that to help with salaries again. That'll be the 3rd year in a row, but thank God for the Drug Court Support Foundation. And the other reason I say that is because, as you all are aware, that GHSO did cut our DUI grant from $60,000 to $20,000 this year, which was somewhat anticipated, not really, but somewhat. But since July, and I'll keep you all up to date on this figure as well, with the 2 revenue-producing programs that we've started, the Alcohol and Drug Intervention Program and the DUI School, we've earned $6,700 so far since July. I also told you about the 4 people that graduated today. Our recidivism rate for the DUI program remains at 0% for arrest within 2 years of graduation. And that's any arrest, not just DUIs. They just don't get arrested. So we're very pleased with that number. The drug court does not have that good of a number, but DUI does. And then our next drug court graduation will be Thursday, November 10th at 6 o'clock, and I believe there's a budget committee hearing in here that night, so those of you in budget can sneak out and come and give us a view. So,
GHSO.
Governor's Highway Safety Office.
Thank you.
Did you just want to see if I could remember?
No idea what it was.
Well, let's go with another one. What's the LAPSW? What's that stand
Oh, Licensed Advanced Practice Social Worker. Licensed Advanced Practice Social Worker.
We're having an acronym class tonight.
Yes, they're testing me quite well, actually.
All right, is there any questions on her report?
Move to approve.
Got a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Have a second. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries.
Okay, thank you very much. Have a good
You
evening.
too. Juvenile detention report, and I believe it's on your desk.
Good evening, and I have passed that out. The numbers that you have in front of you are for September, and there is nothing unusual about these numbers. We still have some money that we're expecting from about 3 counties, but it technically won't be late until November, so we feel good about that. If there are no questions about the report, I can move forward.
Anybody have any questions?
Out of county, we must be pretty full in county, because I said, well, July was down, but we got 85 and 87 you're showing as if they're booked in. But I see that August and September for out of county bill has not been that, is not as high. It usually runs around 20,000 to 25, doesn't it? Generally, and
The other counties kind of work just like we do. They have big months and they have smaller months. We've had a couple of high-profile cases that are using us right now, but just in general, you know, they'll be they haven't.
well, have we had that many more of ours? I guess
We haven't turned anybody away, if that's what you're asking.
All right. Yeah, I guess that's more than it is, okay.
If they call and we have available space, then we use it.
When they call, you generally have some space? or-
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Anybody else have any questions? If not, entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
And a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries.
Just going to update you, we had our open house Thursday, October 20th, and we had a couple of commissioners that came through, and we appreciated that.
It was very nice, thank you.
We had a very large turnout for that, and I think we might have to adjust our times next year because some of our groups were actually so large it was almost they couldn't actually even hear. There was just so many of them. So we were pleased with the community coming out and taking a look and getting educated, and we're going to try to do that every year. So it was good. Went well.
Seen it in the paper and.
They had a good
Good
article on the
paper.
DNJ, and WGNS was there, so they did a nice article as well.
Yeah. All right, appreciate it. Anything else?
That's it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Sheriff Department report.
Pass them down.
Okay, well, Sheriff's finishing up out there. I'll go ahead and start with the amendments for tonight. We've had 2 big donations come in to buy 2 canines. So we're gonna go ahead and, I'm aware of the budget and finance meeting from last month, or earlier this month, where they were gonna do all the amendments a little bit different, but you know, these are large ones, so we're gonna go ahead and run these through. So we're wanting to take those from the general fund donation account, put those in our other contracts, 54-110-399. And mainly because we're ready to buy those dogs. Those dogs are ready to be purchased now too. And so we're
How many?
those funds through. 2.
Two.
2 canines. Expensive dogs, but they're very well worth it. They really pay for themselves.
Where were they trained? I'm just curious.
I'll say out of Florida, I believe is where this gentleman's located. And so he trains dogs for us. The way it works is they pre-order the dog, they get him going, they get him trained, and then when he's ready to go, we run down the check and pick him up.
And what do the dogs specialize in? Is it sniffing?
That
for
I don't
drug-
know. If I had David, Captain
Okay.
Haley here, he could tell you
Okay,
all
that's
that.
fine.
And I could get him here next time if you need. But I tell you, their numbers are up. They've been using those dogs for all kinds of stuff.
Oh, yeah, sure.
They find no sense of running. They're going to get you now.
Thanks for the warning.
Oh, yeah. And then the next one is I want to move some funds out of our budgeted overtime account and related benefits and put that in the Office of Equipment account. I've purchased a few copiers out there, and I've kind of depleted that equipment line item down, so I just want to bump that back up since it's kind of early in the year. So I want to do that, this request to do that. And that's all I have for amendments tonight.
Question
Yes, sir.
on the donations. I mean,
Uh-huh.
I'm not asking who it was, but were they local that done the donations?
Yes, it worked, yes. Where were the dogs out of?
No, we
Florida?
haven't bought the dogs yet.
I know.
They're out of Florida. This
Yeah,
is
so
for
it's
2
like-
dogs.
Yeah.
2 people donated $12,000 apiece to buy dogs.
Anybody have any questions on the amendments? No further requests. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion.
This is coming out of overtime, is that right?
Yes, sir.
So we're not gonna get hit with overtime later in the year if overtime shows up?
If we do, I'm gonna move money out of another account that's gonna be looking good at that time and back into the overtime account to ready that back up. That's just that overtime line item is a big one.
Usually we get hit with it, that's why
Yeah,
I was bringing it up.
yeah. So, you know, if you do, I'll probably, you know, because towards the end of the year, there's always all the other little line items have got a few bucks here and there in them, and then when we get down that point, I'll probably dump some money back in the fund to cover what I'm moving out today.
Anybody else? Call roll.
Commissioner Gooch,
Yes.
Commissioner P,
Yes.
Commissioner Jeff Phillips,
Yes.
Commissioner Tiffany Phillips.
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer,
Yes.
Commissioner Young,
Yes.
Commissioner Farley.
Yes.
Okay, next one is our just budget reports. Still kind of early in the season on these, so we haven't depleted too much. We're pretty much running in line on all of our payroll and overtime. I don't have anybody that's run out of money yet. I'll entertain any questions you have.
Once you've looked on it, if you got any questions, go ahead and ask them.
I guess you bought your cars and got all that?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Just in time for the hailstorm.
Yeah, they all got beat up by the hailstorm.
Because of my truck.
Chief's windshield got busted out. We had several windshields busted out. The insurance company's coming in, so they'll look at all that. But the cars have started being passed out as of last week.
On that, we're self-insured on that.
Yes.
Mhm.
But the county will come in or the insurance company will come in and give the county so much money to go fix it, like the brand new cars. Go ahead and fix those. Like the older cars, the 08s, we won't fix those.
Right.
So there are some vehicles they'll fix, some that they just won't.
The new ones are,
Yeah, the brand new ones they will.
okay.
I thought we had a $25,000 deductible on every vehicle. Isn't that right?
It probably
We
costs
do,
us.
but there is all of this can be treated as one incident. Dan may can tell us better than that. When it
Okay.
exceeds
Well,
a
that's
certain
why I
amount,
was
we-
wondering, because that's
Yeah.
kind of contrary to what
It's
we.
not car to car, we can lump them all together, I believe.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Right. Sounds like your 08s ought to go too, then.
They might, depends on the scope of the total damage, I suppose.
Thank you.
Anybody have any questions on the report? If there's no questions, I'll entertain a motion when we're all ready.
Motion to approve the report.
Got a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
And a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye. All opposed, motion carries. You got something else?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so we'll do this next. This will be the original here. I'm sure you'll probably need to get that signed unless it's a grant contract, so I don't know if I need to get that signed by Budget and Finance. Assuming you probably would. Copies. Yeah, I think you made it up there. This is for the Governor's Highway Safety Grant. You got an extra one?
You got an extra one?
Okay. Yeah.
Is this
Um,
different? Is that the same thing?
Oh, what's the next page, so? It's still the same thing, it's just a different cover page.
Okay.
You actually got a copy of the cover of the signature page on top. This is the grant contract is basically, it's a Governor Highway Safety grant. We're gonna get $74,985.04, of which, if you, the breakdown is, I should have gone in and highlighted all these. It's gonna be for $15,318 of salaries, benefits, and taxes,
Overtime.
which basically be overtime dollars. And then capital purchase, $59,667.04, which will go towards laptops. It's like fifth or sixth page from the back, sorry. I should have gone with some markers and or some tabs and done all this. Under the grant budget, it's basically for laptops and for radar equipment. Is what we get in that for. I think there's 15 units each.
Yes, 15 units of radar
And laptops to go with it, and some PA systems to go with each So that's what this is for. This is non-matching funds. So you don't have to, the county didn't have to match anything. Basically just looking for approval to proceed to accept the grant. Isn't that the way to go?
We've already got permission to accept the grant.
Oh,
This is
okay.
just letting you know.
So we're just letting you know we got the grant then. So,
Has this already been through the commission?
Yes.
We may have, I don't.
I
This
remember,
was, yeah, this was back last October.
Oh, was it?
yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
Is this for DUI?
Yeah, this
Okay.
is for DUI enforcement
Yeah, we did
and,
this
I
last
remember something
Yeah,
last year.
and the Governor Highway Safety Program starting the TIE system, which is, they're going to, all our crash reports are going from paper to computer, and that's why they're trying to help us get into the 21st century and buying laptops for our cars. So,
and this is 15,
this is 15 laptops.
is this kind of like the MDTs, like the
Yes,
city's
like
got?
the city's got.
Is this money already in the budget, or is it to be
No,
added?
this is money they're gonna be giving us. They're gonna cut us a check to purchase these things and then to pay for our overtime,
So overtime for,
doing DUI checkpoints.
so, but the 15,000 that's for salaries is not something that's already in the budget, that's just new?
That's correct. It's
Yeah,
all new
okay.
money. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Maybe you have some.
Just in case we didn't authorize the execution of the contract when you approved it last year, go ahead and, in a matter of really being sure we are covered and don't do something inappropriate,
I remember talking
go ahead
about
and
it now.
assume this has to go to budget and then back to the commission, okay? They
Okay.
may have just approved the application for the grant, I don't know.
That way we're dotting there all
Let's
the
just be
i's and
sure.
crossing the t's.
He's probably correct, but let's
Just be on the safe side
just
that
be
way.
on the safe side, if you don't mind.
You want to authorize execution, accept, and forward to budget?
Yes.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. All right, is there any more discussion? Did you say there was 15 laptops?
Yes, sir. 15 laptops.
Did I ask that question?
15 laptops, 15 radars, 15,
Yeah, thanks for that. It's just a part. No, it's just an adapter. Never mind.
All right. Any more discussion?
Curiosity, did cities put in for this too? You said Murfreesboro already has some.
well,
did
no,
they-
this is the MDT, with the laptops are the MDT.
Now, Murfreesboro's got the thing where whenever they buy a new vehicle, they put an MDT in as far as part of their
Oh,
Their package.
their package on.
Control.
on-
But if you notice, the laptops are, they're the Panasonic notebooks, the tough books, and they're $5,000 a piece, so.
Anybody else? Call roll.
Commissioner Gooch?
Yes.
Commissioner Pete?
Yes.
Commissioner Jeff Phillips?
Aye.
Commissioner Tiffany Phillips?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
Commissioner Young?
Yes.
Commissioner Farley?
Yes.
Okay, next one's just a letter, basically, telling you what we're looking to do here. Pass them down. Legal has looked at this, and they have the resolution on the desk over at Evan Cope's office. He just hasn't given it to me yet, so what we're wanting to do, we've discussed this before about, we are now doing the blood alcohol draws at the detention center back in the book department. So when we bring somebody in, they're for a DUI, they're going ahead and drawing the blood right then. We have not been charging for this. The research has been done by Jeremy Cawthorn over at Cope's office, and it's not illegal for us to do this. It's very lawful. We're entitled to the money if we like to do so. We cannot charge more than it costs. So the limit has been set at $100 per test, or per individual that gets the blood drawn. Yes, sir.
Murfreesboro, Smyrna, and Laverne.
Tennessee Highway Patrol.
That's how we have trouble. We can-
Everybody comes to our facility.
But we can charge, can we get reimbursed from those agencies?
Well, no, it's not the agency we're charging the individual when
Charging
we
the
pull the
individual.
blood. So it goes onto their court
It
costs.
goes on our court
Okay.
costs, and it's collected through the courts.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, this is a different charge from what the TBI charges, because the TBI does the testing, the analysis, the reporting, and the storage. This is just the labor to draw the blood. That's all this is. And then to do the labeling and all that, and then help cover the
But when
cost of the
TBI, the lab does all the testing, that
That's a different charge, but it still goes onto their court cost as
Okay.
well.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
If there's no court cost and they didn't have anything in their blood, are you still gonna charge them?
No.
I mean,
It won't cost.
okay.
Yeah.
And
And it's
so you
also.
can't charge somebody that was,
Yeah.
Yeah, if they're not guilty, they're not guilty.
And basically the way it's set up is the, the judge has a checklist of everything he checks off that he's gonna charge the person with. This will be on that list. And
Okay.
so it's up to the judge to actually make, it's not a given, but it's another checkbox item for the judge on this list.
The thought process behind this, whenever I instituted it, was we're putting medical staff in booking now to cover the county when we bring somebody in off the street to do a evaluation of that person immediately. Well, these nurses were licensed to draw blood anyway, so it was a lot easier. Okay, we'll give them their physical, and then if they're DUI, we draw their blood at the same time. They're in a controlled environment within the jail, instead of taking them over to the hospital, and then you have to walk them halfway across the hospital, draw their blood, then you gotta transport them back over to the jail, which takes about 30 to 45 minutes. This way, you just go drive straight to the jail, you process them, get the blood, you're in and out, and you probably save 45 minutes to an hour. So we're saving officers time getting back on the streets. We have them in a controlled environment, so if they do act squirrely or whatever within the booking room, we have plenty of staff to help take care of that problem. So it's a win-win situation, and then once we can charge for it, since we've got the nurse there, and now we're charging for her time to draw the blood and all that, it's helping the county save the county money, or it'll help put the money back into the county.
And so what we want to do tonight is we're asking your permission to, I guess, forward this idea onto Budget and Finance, where I will have the legal version of this in writing at that point in time.
How many per year do you see?
We've been averaging between 70 and 80 a month. It goes down during Christmas, or, as it gets colder, it's not quite as active, so.
There's 70 to 80 DUIs a month.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Where did, I'm just curious, where did,
Murfreesboro's a college town.
It's closed down.
where did we come up with the $100 cost to draw blood?
That's from Dr. Rudd's office. And so that's labor. You have, I've got the protocol here, what they go through as far as they're having to not only do the blood draw, but you've got the labor to do all the paperwork that goes along with it. And so it does tie up a little bit of time.
Insurance
And then
for
insurance.
that amount of time, it's a breakdown of everything.
Yeah.
If the person is indigent, I mean, it goes back and there's no,
Now, if the court assesses them a fee, then the court assesses them a fee. Now, if the court does that and they pay it, if they're indigent, that's a
Yeah.
different thing. But if the court assesses it, then they still have to pay it whether they're indigent or not.
In a small number of cases, the judges do waive it if they're indigent, but that's a small number.
But I highly doubt that a judge would waive this because they're indigent if they went out and got drunk and went to jail and got a
the
DUI.
reason I'm bringing it up, because I know at one time we were talking about the probationary services down here. Was a certain percentage we wasn't collecting on the probation because of the indigent.
Well, and right now, anything we get's better than what we're getting now because we're
Right.
doing the service anyway. So what we get now is,
This, to me, it just follows in line with the clothing that we
Yes.
just did
Yes, sir.
with last month. I
Right.
mean, if they can pay it.
Well, I bring it up because, I mean,
Yeah.
there's gonna be some that's not gonna be collected because
Mhm.
of that reason.
just like y'all told me
I'll make
last
a
year, go
motion
back
to
and
approve
find the
this
money,
and
I'll
send
find
it to
some.
budget.
Second.
Motion and second. All right, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries.
The only thing I got left is just our monthly reports that we hand out, commendations and stuff like that. And letters to come in from the public.
You want us to get that to a budget member if you need it?
Yes.
Let me say that.
Thank you. You want to take it with you? Some light reading.
I read it.
The other, are we doing the other?
Yeah.
Yeah. One other thing I'd just like to mention, in each and every one of your mailboxes, you should have got a copy of this that says, what every commissioner should know about their jail. So I just want to let you know that it is in your mailbox, and please take it home, read it, and call me up and grill me about it. Ask me questions. So that's why I gave it to you. That's all you got. See it.
Mayor.
Yeah, the mayor.
Hold
Oh,
on.
he's got the rest? Is that what?
I've got one more thing I'd like
Yeah.
to bring forward
All
that
right.
has to do with the sheriff's office, the jail. Okay, we've had this continuing discussion regarding the kitchen, and at the last commission meeting, you did authorize the expenditure of up to $78,000, for design fees, et cetera. Now, we told you we had two approaches. One approach is do this renovation and within the current footprint of the building, or add, I think, 2,500 square feet to the building. And
I've got copies.
You got copies. Let them have a copy of what the architect has given us, if you've already got those.
That way.
What we want you to do is review this and give us direction, because every day that goes by, we're not moving toward a solution.
Oh, okay.
He needs one back.
I've got some down here. Here's the,
Oh,
if you stay within the existing kitchen footprint, we can still serve what is said here, and of course this means putting the new cooler and freezer outside the building, but that's the only thing you'll be putting outside the building. 1,000 meals or more at a time, and that cost is estimated to be $980,000. If we expand the kitchen by the 2,500 square feet, we'll be able to serve 1,500 or more meals at a time at a cost of $220,000 more, or a total of $1.2 million. And the equipment is about $50,000 difference in each of in the scheme A versus B. Okay, the current kitchen before we have engaged in this struggle currently is serving about 900 meals, and he just says the flow has been backward and creates a bottleneck. So we're in a point of having to decide which direction to move forward on. And of course, the architect has recommended that we go ahead and do this expansion so that we can have the ability to serve more inmates when this occurs. And we know with the growth that's already occurred and will continue to grow in the county, you're going to be faced with a decision before too many years pass and about adding another tower down there to serve more inmates. So I believe the sheriff and the architect and myself, we all really recommend that we go ahead and spend $220,000 more to put us in a position where we can handle at least 500 more inmates when that occurs, and that's likely to occur certainly in the next 5 to 10 years. And we think it would be something we really need to do is so we don't face this problem 5 years from now, or 10, even if it's 10, and you have to add these inmates and another tower, and we have to redo the kitchen again. That's our recommendation. I don't know if the sheriff wants to say anything more about that, but that's sort of where we are.
I agree. I mean, we basically talked about this, and I'll go back to what I spoke about earlier. The core of the jail out there was designed for a certain amount of people in that kitchen. We actually, we added those extra beds to each cell, and we're above our core. We've been above our core number, and it's kind of like Fram commercial. You can either pay me now or pay me later on this. And I think if we build this part, we're actually building for the future, and it's something that we're not going to be able to, it's not going to go away. So, and you say it's $200-something thousand.
$220,000 more is the estimate.
More than what we had anticipated.
Well, more than using what we got plus putting the kitchen cooler and freezer outside.
Right.
Finances, the financial end of it, where's
Well,
it coming from?
What we've got about $900,000 we think to do it with. We're going to have to fund from another source about $300,000.
I was watching the school board meeting the other night, and somehow in this $50 million that we actually are borrowing, somehow we saved $1.5 million.
Well, we didn't actually save it so much as the school board had already had some monies available, like $1.2 million or something,
Right.
that we had gathered up, you might say, through the previous construction projects, that that is going to give us the ability to have a bit of extra money to spend somewhere else.
Right.
It hadn't been appropriated, they hadn't worked through this yet, but it does mean that all of the money won't go toward those two schools. There'll be a bit of money for some other capital improvements, whether it's a road out at Joby Jackson or otherwise, but it's going to give us some a little bit of flexibility there.
Hey, Burgess, the 1.2 million, is that including the equipment
Yes,
cost?
sir.
Okay, we're just making sure that wasn't separate there.
It's
so.
included.
And we did apply for, or put together stuff for, or get all the stuff together to apply.
There is
for
some
energy
energy grant money available, and the sheriff's office has submitted a request for applying for that. I think
gotta get all that.
that's going to take some
Yeah.
real maneuvering to justify that equipment out of that energy saving approach. But anyway, we're going to talk about that some
Hopefully
more.
we can try. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Well, I get, bring up a couple of things here. One is we still got the communications system that we're looking at, which we're short on that too. And, you know, and that comes into, to me, that comes into play along with this, just because of the overall thing and the importance of what we have. The other thing is I guess now we're roughly averaging 100 state inmates a day. Is that what?
Yeah,
No, more than
but
that.
More than that.
It's
I had the
over
numbers and I
200.
left it out.
It's more than 200 state inmates.
265, I think,
Yes.
a day.
So multiply that by, and how long, roughly how long's that average been? I mean, because it dropped down when the
There was-
budget's here about a year and a half ago or something like that, because they were.
I had that now.
Well, what I'm getting at is we're getting $35 a day for them, okay? We're putting wear and tear like crazy on our system with the extra people there, because that's why we got the two beds in a room and this type thing. I guess what is how does it hurt us if we petition the state not to take there? Now, of course, I guess it's state law that we have to take those that are.
Yeah,
you know,
we're stuck.
Well,
We're stuck with them.
we got
Anything over once they go over 8 year sentencing, they gotta go to penitentiary.
Yeah.
Anything 8 years or below, we have to
We have to keep
incarcerate them here.
until they call for
Go
them.
to if they have room. Yeah, but there's always, the thing is we're, even though they're paying us something for it, we're still losing out, because even if we can make it with the feeding them and this type thing on $35 a day, it's still, right now we're being cost
think
because
of
of
it this
our.
way, and the mayor is the mathematical genius. 77 inmates a year equals right at $1 million that the state pays back. If this is costing a little over $1 million, you know, we're holding 200 and some odd inmates. You know, the state's paying the county back. It goes into the general fund, but you know, we're still making money. It may cost us a little bit more, but we're even if we didn't have those inmates there, you're still going to have all the costs. You're still going to have the officers there.
Well, you're not going to have the repairs, I think, like we got right now. That's
With it
one way.
now, with that jail's age and dog years, there's 7 years for each year because of the 24-hour constant use. And you got to think too, with this facility, with it being the age it is, and it not having maintenance provided for it for roughly 7 years, that's what's happening now. Is what things have been.
Left alone?
Yeah, they've been left alone and/or thought, you know, we'll get to it later. We have more priorities over here, and this is the sheriff's office, the building and stuff has not been a priority, and it's all catching up. I wish to God it wasn't on my watch, but it's all catching up. I mean, little things here and there, that's fine, but here I've got the kitchen, I've got dispatch, we've got facility, you know, space problems, and it's all coming. In the past, we were, the sheriff's office, before my term, had been asked to put in a 5-year plan. They put in a 5-year plan, they put in a 10-year plan, they put a 20-year plan in. And going back and looking at those plans, even when they submitted those plans to the commission, none of those plans have been followed to provide, okay, because actually I've got a newspaper article here when Mayor Allen was still in office where the the focus was to build the courthouse and then build another jail. And then the courthouse got put on the side, and so the focus got building a new jail and adding on to the current facility. And that was 6 years ago, and every year it's been pushed back, up until about 2 years ago. I think the mayor and the previous sheriff had kind of come to something, but then it kind of kept falling through. And then when we pushed for it, it fell through again. So these needs for the facility in the kitchen, dispatch, and other things are just compounded over time. And it's just all come to a head now.
The math I've got with him bringing up the communications, that was about $530,000 with the furniture, and then plus the 1.2 million, and then basically we're about $480,000 short with the communications project and the jail renovate or the kitchen renovation project. If you added them all together, we're 400 somewhere around there, give or take.
And we'll know more about it. It looks like we're leaning more towards the Motorola 7500, hopefully. And talking with Motorola, they were going to put together a plan. They could potentially finance this thing for the county if they wanted to at like a really, really low interest rate, if that's the direction the commission wanted to go. If we couldn't do it all right now, maybe we could spread it out over 2 years, and then, you know, if we had 350 and it's going to cost us 450, we could spread out that $100,000 over a 2-year payment plan to them with maybe, don't quote me on it, but let's say maybe 3 to 4% interest, or maybe 2%. I don't know, but you know, that was an idea that they threw out to us.
So
It's just a matter of whether the budget committee wants to use the money that's available, and there will be this $1 million+ that we're borrowing. You'll have to set your priorities on whether you want to use it for the road, and the roads, you don't need that money until well into 2012. So there's more than 450,000 or whatever Mr. Young there said
there's
available. And you still got some development tax money. We haven't used all of that up. We've pulled that down with what we currently projected, which we've under-projected to about 1.9 million. So that money is still there as well.
Well, where I was getting the 480,000 was the litigation fund for the jail renovation, and then the 911 communication money that we've already, or the 350. I mean, that's, we're not far away from completing both projects. I mean, we can find the money.
Well, we gained 80,000 from the bricks too.
If we can't use that for the dispatch, we can use that for the jail remediation, because that'll be 80,000. Hopefully, we'll use less that we'll use out of the litigation tax fund.
Well, I voted against the kitchen renovation last time this brought up. Of course, the commission has passed that, and you know, I understand that, and being on budget too, you know, I know we've got to find the money here. The reason I don't want this is I haven't heard what it would cost us to have these meals prepared outside. And if you take away the people that are doing the preparation there and figure all the costs in, I'd like to see the cost. That's why I've said no on this. And I hadn't heard the cost on it. And nobody else here has heard the cost on this either. But of the two plans, the one that makes sense is the one that's the latter, going to the higher figure, because our population will grow out there. There's no doubt about that. But I will be voting no on this because I'm still waiting on hearing some numbers on what it would cost to have this done outside. So until I do, you know, I'm not interested in spending more tax dollars on this when I could possibly do it cheaper another way.
If we had built a kitchen big enough to do both the work center and this, what is now costing us is $1 per meal. It's what we're doing to support him on a temporary basis. We can't sustain that long term. I mean, it's going to really stretch us to handle this for 6 months or whatever it takes. But so now there would be some additional costs past that we don't have a number. Of course, we haven't had a quote. If someone were to prepare it in their kitchen at their location and then transport it and bring it, it would be something more than $1. But I don't know what that is.
But you also have to subtract the personnel that are preparing food now. You've got those in the budget.
But see, the personnel, yeah, he's got a few personnel, and
there's
a lot largely, most of the personnel are inmates.
I understand, you've got trustees.
So
and inmates
if
that
we
work
didn't do that
too.
within our facilities and use those, that would even bump that cost way up. If it were done off-site by another entity, it would just balloon that
Well,
number.
even if we contracted out, like the way the work center's done, the correctional work center's contracted out with the company. If the sheriff's office was to contract it out, they still have to have a facility for the contractors to prepare the meals, so we'd still have to have a facility.
Not necessarily, it depends on how you bid this out.
Well, that's
You
true.
bid it out to a contractor that would cook the meals. I mean, there are people out there that cater.
They would.
May I speak, Mayor?
Yeah, let's get the chairperson.
Here's the problem with this. Right now, it's already 10 cents more a meal. What you're talking about, we've already considered. There's nothing wrong with out here looking at other companies. The problem you're going to run into, Commissioner, is the fact that we're feeding with styrofoam now. We're preparing this at our facility with the cooks. We're preparing, they're cooking it there, delivering it, and our people are prepping it, and we're delivering it on lighter carts, number one. You're still going to have the personnel that preps this. If you prep it over at the, let's say the workhouse was big enough, you prep it there, then you're going to have a different delivery system. You're going to have to unload it at the docking bay. You're going to have a bigger truck. They're going to have to hire more personnel themselves. Now, you know, we can try to get the numbers. There's nothing wrong with ever checking that. Over the years, we've checked with ABL, other companies that do food prep, and it's never been the same dollar amount when you got a facility our big, that's as big as ours. It works out that way. What you run into is you've got to watch how the food's prepped. You got to make sure the calorie count's right. You got to be sure you got special diets that are made. We are constantly running into that issue now. We're staying on top of it. It's you know, we're making it work, but it's a lot of stress to make it happen. If you have somebody that delivers the wrong meal, let's say that whenever they're prepping this and they put noodles instead of rice and chili, you got a problem because that's an egg product. And you're going to start having people have reactions and everything. Somebody has to watch those things. You're talking about a nightmare when you do this off the situation. There was years ago, we checked with the state of Tennessee. They did a cool chill process. We looked at it, sounded good. Problem was they couldn't always guarantee delivery. Because if a diesel truck or something won't start, when you bring that many meals over, how are you going to feed the prisoners? You got to do at least 2 hots a day on top of that. And then we do one sandwich, 2 sandwiches in a cold lunch a day. I mean, you're talking about right now, you're talking about 2,400 meals or more a day. And that fluctuates by 50 or 60 meals on a daily count. Fridays and Saturdays, you have weekenders coming in, that could shoot up 50 to 100. So, I mean...
Well, I understand what you're saying, and you're exactly right. I mean, if somebody's got a food allergy or something like that, and their medications and, you know, the calorie count, I understand all that. But we, as a commission, have never seen this actual cost. I mean, and there's options out there. I mean, how many schools we got that got cafeterias in them that we could hire people to cook in? I mean, we're not thinking out of the box on a lot of this. I'm just saying, we haven't looked at this. I mean, I haven't seen the cost breakdown on it.
Well, we can try to get it. You can have a private company come in, but I'm just telling you that we've done this for a long time there. We know what we're doing. We understand you've got to watch the dollars. We do too. But I'm just saying that, you know, we get these numbers together best we can. But we went through other companies over the years to ask what it would cost. They've got to have a facility to prep this in. Nobody does. You can't go out here and hit a school. You know, maybe during the summer you can get by with, but you still got to deliver it. You still got to have a truck. It's just like when we was talking about consolidating all the papers and pens together. To save $300,000, you're going to spend $1 million. That's what happened last time we talked about doing that.
Well, we're spending $1.2 million here, and I'd like to see the figures before I'm willing to vote for it myself.
As you can see, the stress that this whole meal process has brought upon all of us.
Anybody else? What's the will of the committee?
Move to forward recommendation number 2 to the budget committee consideration with a positive recommendation.
And is there a second?
Second.
All right, second, discussion. Recommendation number 2 is to expand the kitchen we'll add approximately 2,500 new square foot with complete redesign of the kitchen layout and flow. Will be able to serve 1,500 plus meals at a time. The Scheme B will cost approximately $1.2 million. So that's the motion on the floor. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any questions or comments on the motion that's on the floor? Hearing or seeing none, call the roll.
Commissioner Gooch?
Yes.
Commissioner P?
No.
Commissioner Jeff Phillips?
Aye.
Commissioner Tiffany Phillips?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
Commissioner Young?
Yes.
Commissioner Farley?
Yes. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
One more thing. The November 18th, on that, the bid on the communications, it's going to be extended since Motorola, you said, it's looking at.
No, what happened was, the mayor
There's
asked,
a couple of clarification points, questions have been asked. Both bidders have responded to those questions, and that information, I don't know if you got it yet or not, but that will be here in time for the November 2nd meeting that's coming. They'll bring their recommendation back. The sheriff's office will at the next
for the
purchasing
purchasing
committee.
committee? Okay.
that's all we're waiting on.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Thank y'all.
OSHA report. Yeah, I think it's in, on the table.
Me too. I need to.
I might try to get their meeting. Go for it, see what it is. See how long I can type. You want mine?
Good evening.
Good evening.
You do have the report there for in front of you. For the month of September, we have a total of 23 injuries requiring medical attention. You see the breakdown there. That brings the total for the year-to-date from January until the end of September to a total of 186. The total of OSHA recordables for the year is 125. Of those, 62 have restricted days, 20 were lost days, and 43 were all others. Next page shows you the graph compared to the last 2 years to where we are this year. For the 23 claims, presently we've incurred a total of $41,490. Of course, that's incurred, that's not paid out as of yet. The Board of Education had 13 claims, and of those 23, and the total dollars incurred for them is $30,565. The Highway Department had one with $900, and County General had the other 9 for $10,025. And then, of course, the next page shows the breakdown of the County General that you've requested in the past. That's there.
Any questions?
County Fire Department.
Yes.
There's 2 people that are on the payroll in that, or is it one?
Now, the thing, sir, to remember is that we cover the county volunteer firemen.
Okay.
There's several, there's 86 or more individuals, and if a volunteer is injured on the while fighting a fire for the county, they're covered. We take care of them.
That's what I was driving at.
Yes, sir. That's not the one. I promise you, he's not involved in any of the numbers they reported.
Anybody else? Entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the report.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries.
I do have one other thing I just want to bring up. The county is going through open enrollment right now for medical benefits. That closes this Friday at noon. The computer gets locked up, so I'd like to remind all county employees that if they have not done their open enrollment for the benefits for next year, they need to do that before noon this Friday. Right now, the county has completed 48% of the population. So we're only at halfway there, and we've got 3 days left. So
the date's the 28th, is that correct?
the Friday at noon, the 28th at noon, and the computer locks.
This is shown over and over, that's why I wanted to.
Yes, sir, absolutely. And just to let you know, the insurance department has extended the hours in the office in case anybody needs assistance. There's people in the office as early as 7 o'clock in the morning, and we're staying to 5:30 this week every night.
Has anybody called each department head and had them to send that information out?
Yes, sir. In addition to that, we've also sent out emails to all employees, notifying the Board of Education, and we're trying to, again, communicate it, but it does take a requirement of the individual stepping forward. And anybody that does ask us, is it necessary for me to do it if if I'm not changing or anything like that? And we encourage people to do that, because if you don't get on there and you don't know what you have, or if you're mistaken about what you have, then you're going to live with your benefits for another year, and you're not going to be able to change those things. So we do encourage people to at least go in and view it. It takes about 5 minutes once you get in there if you just walk through the process. If all you're going to do is just verify your benefits. So that's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ambulance service report. That's your trusty sidekick with you tonight. Thank you, Mike.
Do what?
We made 2,055 calls last month. Average response time was 7.6 minutes. And we had 27 autopsies, no, 27 DOAs. I think we had 14 autopsies, I believe. We billed $1,175,289. We collected $524,604. Which gives us a projected collection of $6,225,471. Had insurance write-offs of $328,008 and collection agency write-offs of $522,104. And we didn't pick anybody up for the county this month. Mileage table at the bottom of the page. We had quite a bit of repairs this past month. We brought 3 new ambulances in last week, so hopefully we'll get them on the road within the next couple of weeks, 3 weeks. That should help that a little bit. Drove a total of 37,503 miles. And the ambulances responded to 606 calls out of their zone.
Isn't that about average?
A little higher.
A little higher.
But that number seems to be going up.
Yeah.
Well, so's the number of calls too. So's the number of people in the county, if you want to get to it too, also.
We had several in-services and training, and the various teams participated in several different activities there. They're all listed for you.
I want to say something. I was at the Middle Tennessee Fire Chiefs had a meeting at SORT, at the county fire department in the SORT, that kind of sponsored at the SORT building, and that place was in top shape, and the people all over the Middle Tennessee Fire Chiefs were very impressed with what we have here in Rutherford County. So I wanted to let y'all know that.
Thank you. It is impressive if you walk through that building. And any of you can come by anytime you want to. The majority of the stuff in that building was purchased through grant money.
And there were a lot of people that was, really impressed with it, and I felt good about it because I think I had a part in putting that building out there and with that team. So the county ought to be proud of that.
On the next page, the response time reports for all of the 12 stations. We have the number of calls broken down by commissioner districts, as well as Nashville calls and the transport team calls. And on the following page, that same information and year-to-date calls. The table there just kind of gives you an idea of where the calls are being made. For instance, if you look at the Manchester Road ambulance, they made 3 calls into Salem Road and 9 calls into Burton Street. And made 162 calls into the zoo zone. And 2 into Christiana. That team is getting pulled several times a day to the roadside at the corner of Rutherford Boulevard and Manchester Road. They spend a very long time at the station.
And really to correct something like that, and not have to build a station, you couldn't put another ambulance at Burton Street because it's not really big enough, is it?
But I do think that the way to correct it is you're on the right track. We have a support team ambulance, but that ambulance pretty much is tied up in taking care of sick leave and various things like that. But if we have another ambulance such as them that could just go where it was needed, then that would solve that problem.
Yeah.
For the most part, it's not ever going to solve all of it.
Right. I'm just looking at, way the staffing wise and because you take that many calls out of 162 calls out of the Manchester Road Station, I mean, that's leaving that area, without ambulance. And I'm assuming there's probably.
Well, they only had 25 calls within zone.
Yeah, it's like Las Casas.
I mean, they did have capacity, so they could make these calls.
That ambulance would have probably been better at Manchester Highway and Rutherford Boulevard. It'd probably been better there for going out for those 25 calls and handling all the calls in town. But
the one thing that we can't forget about there is Joe B. Jackson. There's industry that's coming in there, and it never fails. The planning commission calls me and wants to know what the response time is, and evidently some of these people that are looking at locating there are interested and wanting to know how long it take advanced life support ambulance to get there, and where the backup is at.
Right. Yeah.
It's going to be an important ambulance at some point.
Yeah, one of these things, a lot of things they want to know is there's fire station and there's the ambulance station.
Yep.
Right, they do.
Do they ever ask where the local Walgreens is?
There's the one thank you note sort of thing there.
Any questions?
where are you going to put your 3 new ambulances? Have you figured that out yet, or will they fit where you need them? Or
They won't fit in Burton Street.
That's what I was hoping. I could get one downtown. I know they run.
That particular style of ambulance won't fit at Burton Street. And I'm really not sure what we're going to do. You know, what we've been doing is we've been putting a newer ambulance somewhere and taking a relatively new ambulance. But we're going to run out of those ambulances that'll fit. And we're just going to have to think through it.
What size did you get this time?
Well, they're not building that mini mod anymore. Now, I understand that if the ambulance was actually built before the law was passed that prevented that you can still use them. And we're looking for some clarification on that. Because if that's the case, then we might be able to go another couple of years by buying one of those and putting
Yeah. Any questions? All right. Thank you.
Need a motion.
Oh.
Move to approve.
Got a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries.
I was thinking,
Paul's report. I should have thinking that, if we ever did.
I feel like I'm giving you all a book tonight, a little thicker than usual.
Go right ahead.
All right, sir. For the month of September, we had 323 dogs come into the facility, 352 cats, and 201 other animals, for a total of 876 animals in the shelter. 32.1% of those came from the county jurisdictions, 9.8% came from the city of Laverne, 43% came from the city of Murfreesboro, and 15.1% came from the town of Smyrna.
I gotta ask,
Okay.
so what's the 133 others from Murfreesboro? What did they?
Skunks, possums, we've even had, I'm sorry?
Wait a minute, okay.
We even had some, I believe, chickens that came from the town of Smyrna. You know, it just varies what we've had. We've had a couple of ferrets this past month. We've got a couple of rabbits in the shelter now.
Anybody come adopt the chickens?
We've had one of the three be adopted, and it seems like every time we get rid of some chickens, we have some more, and chickens have to be held for 30 days, so it makes for a very long process.
That's what I was
Very
thinking,
long
that's why they
process.
take them. Okay.
So that's our others. This round, I believe they're all roosters. The previous round, yes, we did have a few eggs come through, but most of those are going to be your skunks, possums, things that people are trapping. Down at the bottom, you can see that we had 914 animals go back out of the shelter with a 20.5% adoption reclaim rate and a 67.9% euthanasia rate. At the end of September, that should be 9/31, we had 134 animals left in the shelter. 1,840 people visited the shelter looking for a new or lost pet, and we had 2,752 logged calls or voicemails for the month. On the second page, you'll see that we received 1,498 calls for the month, and 1,552 calls were completed out. And you can see the breakdown of the jurisdictions on that as well. And our officers traveled 10,466 miles for the month. On the third page, you'll see our year-to-date that we've taken in 2,792 animals thus far. And you can see that we've had 2,834 go back out, and the adoption euthanasia rates are fairly close to the same there from year-to-date. A little over 5,900 people have visited the shelter, and we've logged a little over 7,500 calls or voicemails to the shelter. We've received 4,144 calls for the year, and we've completed 4,146 calls, and we've traveled 32,371 miles this fiscal year. The next page that you have is our rabies and bite exposure report. For the month of September, we had 43 bites that were reported. 19 of those animals were tested. One shows up as a positive. If it's an unsatisfactory result, you treat that as a positive. And you'll see down at the bottom that it was a cat from the Smyrna zone. That cat was involved in a bite case. We were trying to capture the animal over a time frame. That animal ended up getting into an electrical box and was electrocuted, and that's why it came back as unsatisfactory.
I would say that's
And as far as the month of September, we also had 6 other exposures that were reported. 4 of those were tested, and none of those came back as positive or unsatisfactory.
Any questions?
How's your heating and cooling?
It's doing just fine now, thankfully. Not had any issues whatsoever as far as the heating and cooling. We had a little issue with electrical service on Labor Day ended up not being an issue with our building. It was something to do out at the road with Murfreesboro Electric. They were out there quickly and got that fixed, and haven't had a single issue with that.
Do we have any questions on his report? If there's none, I'll take a motion on his report.
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
And a second. Any other questions? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. We got a budget amendment.
Yes, sir, we do. This involves no new money. With us having the supervisor vacancies, what we're asking to do is move money from there into our part-time personnel and our overtime pay. Both of those lines have been over budget because of those vacancies. We'd like to put money back in there. We're looking to take $4,000 from our drugs and medical supplies to put back into our veterinary services. This is a budget amendment that we did a couple of months ago as well to be able to pay those private veterinarians while the surgical suite's being built. We are right in the middle of the process on the surgical suites. What we're doing is trying to limp along until that is completed and Dr. Bingham can do surgeries in-house. They were there painting today. Hopefully they'll start working on ceiling and flooring, those type things here within the next couple of weeks. And then we're also looking to take $1,000 from our office supplies to put into our maintenance agreements. We have a couple of extra computers, so in our software program, which is Chameleon, we have an annual maintenance cost with them. That went up a little bit this year that we weren't expecting, so we're asking to put some money in maintenance agreements to take care of that increase.
Any questions on the request?
Motion to approve.
Got a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
And a second. Our discussion. Hearing none, call roll.
Commissioner Gooch?
Yes.
Commissioner Petty?
Yes.
Commissioner Jeff Phillips?
Aye.
Commissioner Tiffany Phillips?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
Commissioner Young?
Yes.
Commissioner Wiley?
Yes.
The next page that I have is basically a very simple and crude large animal response. This is mainly for our department so that my officers know what's the plan if we do have some type of large animal situation. This will be expanded upon in the future as a DART team and all that starts getting to rolling again. I understand from before I arrived with the county, there were some committees that met and it seems like everything just kind of stopped. And from what everybody's telling me, that were somewhat involved with that committee, basically we're going to be starting from scratch. So I wanted some plan in place to where my officers knew what their steps were if they had a large animal call on pager tonight. And I've included this for you all. What they're going to be doing is they're going to assess the situation, contact the supervisor on call, and the supervisor on call will make the determination whether a trailer needs to be brought out, what our next steps are, does Dr. Bingham need to be en route, those type things. I've talked with Tim Hooker from EMA. They do have a trailer that was bought with Homeland Security money, and they also have some corral panels. We've worked out with him to where that trailer will be moved soon over to our facility. That way we'll be able to have a quicker response versus having to go to the garage, get it hooked up, and all those type deals. And like I said, there will be more coming on this in the future, but this is just a crude thing to get us started, so we've got something written down. To get a whole DART team, to get all the response and all that is going to be a lot more involved. It's not something we're going to be able to do overnight.
Did this come about over, I think over a cow
It did.
got out in the city?
Yes, sir, it did. Yes, sir, it did. So we want to make sure that everybody's, like I said, within our department understands what our response is going to be for Rutherford County Paws moving forward.
I guess does all municipalities and everybody have this, where they have an idea?
No, this is just, my officers have this. All the municipalities have the pager number and the pager schedule, so they would contact the officer that's on call, and then the officer on call would put this into place as far as with our department for us to be able to go forward. I just wanted you all to have that for your information.
Well, I mean, and I guess thinking out loud here, the different agencies probably need to know that this is available, because in case they, say for example, Smyrna, Laverne, or Murfreesboro get out and their officers are out there, they may not know that this.
I could be happy to forward this to all the dispatch next time.
That way they have an idea of what's there now.
Okay. That won't be a problem whatsoever.
Okay.
The next thing that I have, and I was told by finance, we kind of went about this a little backwards, so please accept my apologies. We've received a grant from the state of Tennessee that I applied for back in May through the animal-friendly license plates. I applied for 10,000. Of course, there's very limited funds there, and of course, as the economy goes down, people don't purchase those specialty plates. We were awarded $3,000. After I spoke with finance, once we got the grant contract and everything, they said that, well, you're supposed to go through public safety and finance before you apply, and I did not know that, and I do apologize. So I'm coming to you now asking for forgiveness, but also asking if you would forward this to the Budget Committee for approval so that the mayor can sign the contract. The money is to be used to bring the space station out of Wilson County. They would come to our facility and do spay and neuters out of their, like a RV type vehicle out in the parking lot. This will allow them to come basically 6 times, and we'll have them come every other month. Just asking for your approval, and like I said, ask for your forgiveness as well. You live and you learn.
Are there matching funds for this grant?
There are no matching funds.
Motion to approve.
Got a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Have a second, all in favor of the motion? We gotta call roll on this, don't we?
Probably.
For low income and elderly who can receive the spay and neuters?
The space station only caters to those type folks, so since we were asking them to come and do the surgeries, we had to meet their qualifications. I spoke with them last week. They have a waiting list of 200 people just from Rutherford County alone right now.
What's the adage? It's better to ask for
forgiveness
forgiveness than permission?
Yes, sir, but I always like asking for permission if I know to.
All right, call roll.
Commissioner Gooch. Commissioner P.
Yes.
Commissioner Jeff Phillips.
Aye.
Commissioner Tiffany Phillips.
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Farley.
Yes. Oh, thank you all. Y'all have a good evening. You too. Correctional Work Center report.
I swear I'm going to change hands.
How you good? You doing all right?
Can you sit right here next time?
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Page 1 is the yearly activity report. Reflects the average head count we've had for the year. Our census has pretty much been staying above 205 or even up to 220 for the past month and a half to 2 months. So that's been a steady flow, which is helping us with some of the things we've been dealing with, and assisting with the extra cooking we're doing. So that's been working out great. Work is going out, steady flow. All the agencies have been using them, especially this time of year with the fall and getting all the debris and other projects they're working around the county. That's going pretty good. Incident reports went down a little bit, but that's something that, you know, it sways, especially with the population going up. So it might see a lot of it is not dealing with, as you see, the disciplinaries are not really, they've been going down actually. So, and I think keeping them busy with our programs kind of keeps us idle minds from doing a lot of mischievous things. The GED went great. They just had a GED test last week, so we haven't had the results yet on how many passed the GED. They actually had a facility, and the sheriff's department sent their people over there too, so that went pretty smooth. Nurse call just went up a little bit due to once again, the extra work we've been doing with the food service, but it's minor things, nothing major there. DUI Little Cruise, that's been going pretty good also. And that's about it on our program.
You never get females in there?
We do.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
felonies.
F is felony.
That's right, I asked that last one, that's why I did.
Yeah, that throws people off.
Yeah, well, it's because juvenile has, they separate them there.
The next page is the state litter pickup. We got 4,611 from the state for those state roads that we picked up in the month of August. And we also have the September report, which reflects $3,835.80 for February. I'm sorry, that's February? September. That came from. It's jumped. Okay. And the last report is the last board meeting, which occurred on Monday, October 3rd. Report of expenditures. We are kind of concerned. We want to keep an eye on our maintenance lines, accounts, lines 334 and 335, and that's based on, it speaks for itself. Some of the major issue we've had is the chillers been giving us some malfunctioning, and sometimes those bills can add up. We had the last one was $40-some hundred to repair that, and we did a request for budget that was approved, thankfully, and that was for our accounts payable. Miss Peggy Young is retiring this Friday, so we brought in a replacement a couple of weeks prior to get trained, so that went pretty smooth. She started last Monday, actually. The dish machine, I think I brought this up a couple of months ago, actually a few months back, when it did got defective on us and was not working. We tried to get it repaired. That turned into pretty much a big issue with the manufacturer, so we decided to lease one, and right now we're still working out some contract issues with 3 vendors to come up with that. But the average monthly cost should be around $200 a month to lease the equipment. And it's a brand new equipment, and they service it free, so that should work out pretty good. The food service, I know that's a hot topic. It's a little bit stressful with trying to, as far as running the kitchen now with the 24-hour operation, the main thing, my concern is just to make sure we don't burn out the equipment. We have the space, no doubt, keeping inmate labor, and of course with our contract to ABL, all those little kinks we had in the beginning has been worked out. The main problem we had in the past was actually getting the correct counts on both ends, how much meal to actually prepare, but we're going into 2 months into this process, and I think everybody on both sides got it worked out, so we're working pretty good with that. But
is there any equipment we could get from the sheriff's department and use over there to help offset the, if we're looking at, if we fund the sheriff's department renovation, they're gonna get new equipment anyways.
Right.
So is there any equipment we could,
I think that's something we can definitely look
kettles,
at.
whatever?
We really hadn't
Like a
thoroughly
dishwasher.
evaluated what we're.
I'd rather use
might
that
need.
stuff than go buy new,
We're gonna do some thorough homework in that.
Good deal.
But that's the main concern there, is just the equipment. New Vision event went pretty great. Like I said, New Vision Baptist Church is doing a lot of good work and within the facility, and other churches too. They just had that event for us last month.
When is the work release, isn't that coming up when you're going?
Yes, we're still working on, right now we're just having meetings and getting everything together. We're still projecting to get it started in December, but we just want to do it slowly and, make sure we got everything involved and have all the aspects, and, TCA has a lot of, things that they govern under that, so we just want to make sure we got everything in place before we actually start it. Pretty much it.
Any questions on his report? Entertain a motion. If there's not,
Move to approve, Mr. Chairman.
got a motion, we have a second.
Second.
And a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries.
Only one thing I want to say, we're going to do a food drive at the work center. We're going to collect dry foods and canned goods for the Salvation Army. We're going to donate it to them in December, just about a week before Christmas. So I just want to let the community know they can always drop that stuff off there at the work center.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
County Fire Rescue.
I think Steve's there. He's there. I'm reading. I can't remember.
First sheet's just my monthly report of my activities and things that are going on. We had the yearly New Exchange Club Firefighter of the Year Awards, and our Captain Rob Odom was the Volunteer Firefighter of the Year. Also, something I failed to mention last year, month, we had a team that participated in the Tough Challenge over at the Fire Academy last month, which is more or less, I might as well say Tough Man Challenge, and we, our team finished first out of all the volunteer fire departments, brought the axe back home, and one of our guys even come in second in the individuals, and so I'm awful proud of them.
It's pretty cool.
Next sheet is the MVAs for the month of October, with a total of 40 calls. Average response time was 7.3 minutes. Next sheet is the water usage and training hours.
District 31, who is that?
Christiana.
Still not turning the water in, stuff in on.
No, they're turned in, but not by the due date. Most reports have to be in by the 4th of the month. That way our administrative assistant can tally all the totals and turn all that. She has to turn in a report to the codes department for structure fires and the total water usage to CUD. Next sheet is the structure fires that were reported to codes in the month of September. And the last sheet is something that I met with Ms. Tanya Stevenson. Liberty Mutual Insurance has got a grant deal process, and we're participating in that. And we're trying to get as many people as we can to go to the website, www.bsafe.com/Rutherford County Fire Rescue. Take a 20-question quiz, and then click on Rutherford County Fire Rescue. It gives us credit for it. I think if we can get about 5,000 people to take the test, then we can get a $10,000 grant. So I urge you to take this home where you can go online and take the quiz.
More than once?
Yeah. Well, I think you can only do it per email. So if you got different emails, you can do your company email and private personal email.
If you fail the quiz, do you still get credit? Or?
Yeah, we still get credit.
How many emails have you got to send? 5,000?
Well, if we can get, I think 5,000 requests or people take the test, we've probably got a good shot at it according to the guy. I think what it is that we're competing with other fire departments of our size, and whoever gets the most people to take the test wins the money. And that's all I've got.
Is there any questions? Did you give me that information? All right, is there a motion on the floor? Is there a motion on the report?
Motion to approve the report.
Second.
Is there a second? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Yes.
All opposed, motion carries. Thank you. EMA,
Good evening.
how you doing?
Sponsor, you all?
Any better, couldn't stand it.
Good thing. This is a thin report this month. I'm happy to report nothing substantial in the way of outstanding calls. We did have a 120-gallon diesel spill at Mount Walker 93 westbound last Thursday due to a ruptured saddle tank. We had a very successful 3-day Emergency Management Association convention here last week at the Embassy Suites Hotel. I'd like to thank the mayor for his time to come and give an opening statement. And it was well received again here for the second year. And big news is the Tiger Hill Tower is up in its full capacity. We expect the building to be delivered mid-November, and then we'll be putting all those components together to finalize and get the tower hooked up and start hanging apparatus on it as soon as we can.
If you need help on getting the fire hooked up, all right.
Okay.
Tim, are legal burns just if they don't get a permit? Is that what it- or are they burning something that's a chemical or something?
Yeah, illegal burns fall under two different categories. Number one, you're required to call in and get a burn permit during specific times of the year, and we're in that time period now. Burn permits do not cost anything. They can call a 1-800 number, and they get a permit number issued to them. That information is also stored at the Sheriff's Department, so if somebody sees smoke or sees a fire, when they call it in, if that's on the roster, they know that that's a qualified burn. Now, there's specific materials that are only allowable to burn, and what I like to explain to the general public is you can only burn what the good Lord gives you. In other words, leaves, tree limbs, grass, only natural product. No plastics, no metals, no wires,
Shingles,
tires, carpet, styrofoam, all of that stuff.
Pre-treated wood don't, you can't burn that.
You can burn lumber as long as it's not been pressure treated. But you're not even supposed to burn construction material. That's supposed to go to that qualified landfill area for that type of activity. So we do have information on illegal burn activity on the EMA website. If anybody wants to go there, they can get all the information they need on illegal burns. And it can be very costly to the general public if they don't fulfill those obligations and burn illegal products. And it doesn't matter how small it is. If they throw a tin can in a campfire, that's an illegal burn.
Burn permits are from October 15th to May 15th.
Yes.
You don't wait till Saturday to call, they don't usually answer their
Well,
phone.
that's correct, yeah.
The forestry has come out, I just come from Cheeseman last week, and the forestry got a thing now, you can go on their website and apply by email and get one on Saturday and Sunday, so you don't have to call for the week.
That's good.
It helps a lot too, and there are also some new laws that were initiated over the last year where you can't burn within a specific yardage range to a structure. The fire has to be attended at all times. So there are a lot of regulations that are associated with these burns that people need to do.
You think we could get that illegal burn information on 19? Possibly
You bet.
the number and the times of year and what they can't burn and get that information. I
Bring
know
that
that
to you
probably
next
helped the
meeting.
fire department out on responding to cut down on the.
Actually, we've been working very closely with the fire department. They've helped cut EMA's response down measurably to illegal burn activity, especially during weekend and off hours, where the fire department does a more intensive report to the EMA on that fire activity. And if it's after hours, then that report comes to us, and then we make a determination whether that site needs to be visited by EMA and then sent up to TDEC on the state level for further investigation. But yeah, I'll give you all that information at the next meeting.
Yeah, that EPA coming here on, that's gonna be rough.
EPA fines are extremely heavy. I've seen fines upwards of several $1,000s just for a campfire size illegal burn in someone's backyard.
Well, not to mention it's a class something misdemeanor and then up to a felony for burning without a permit and going on somebody else's property and burning the structure down.
Yeah, depending on circumstances.
So-
I mean, even if you take a standard car tire, the TDEC can fine you $1,000 per tire per day while that particular piece of
trash burns, so it can get very expensive.
All right, is there a motion on his report?
Motion to approve the report.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
And a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Is there any other business to come before the committee tonight? Hearing or seeing none. It's 7 o'clock up, straight up and down. We're adjourned.